For years, tensions simmered along the western frontier. Some parts of western Kenya were under dispute, and Uganda had claimed and occupied portions of this territory. Ugandan President Idi Amin boldly announced that these lands rightfully belonged to Uganda. His words stirred anger and disbelief across Kenya. Then the first strike came. On the morning of September 15, 1978, Ugandan forces launched a surprise ambush across the border. Convoys rolled forward. Soldiers stormed villages, detaining civilians and forcing some across the line. The Kenyan police tried to protect people while avoiding chaos. But the situation escalated. Farms were abandoned. Families fled. The frontier that had been tense for years erupted into open conflict. The news reached President Jomo Kenyatta, who was furious. Diplomatic protests were sent. Warnings were issued. Kenya's sovereignty would not be challenged. So Kenya took charge. Defensive positions were reinforced. Military units deployed with RPGs, mortars, machine guns, artillery, and secure radios. Observation teams scanned the hills day and night. Every soldier knew the stakes. The next move would decide the fate of the border. Before dawn, Kenyan forces responded. Troops moved with precision and discipline, taking cover along ridges and fortified positions. RPG teams targeted armored vehicles, machine guns controlled open fields, and mortars struck with deadly accuracy. Kenyan military jets roared overhead, bombing Ugandan supply points and armored positions. Explosions tore across the hills, breaking the ambush's momentum. With coordinated air and ground attacks, Kenyan troops launched a counteroffensive. Step by step, they pushed the attackers back across the border. Over 200 Ugandan soldiers were neutralized, and many were captured as prisoners of war, disarmed and secured. Vehicles and forward bases were destroyed or abandoned. The counteroffensive went beyond defense. Kenya regained territory that had been under Ugandan control, reclaiming parts of western Kenya that had been disputed for years. Forward positions inside Uganda that had supported the ambush were dismantled to prevent future incursions. Strategy, technology, and discipline ensured the border would remain secure. By nightfall, the guns fell silent. Smoke drifted across the battlefield. Medics worked under fading light. Soldiers sat in exhausted silence, knowing they had survived a day that would be remembered for generations. There were no celebrations, only the understanding that defending a nation comes at a cost. Kenya's land, its people, and its borders were not to be challenged. In the following days, Ugandan President Idi Amin conceded, withdrawing forces, releasing captured civilians, and formally acknowledging the border. The prisoners of war were later released, and a new era of diplomacy began. Friendship between Kenya and Uganda slowly returned. Peace was restored, and security lines were reinforced. Villages regained calm, and the frontier that had burned was once again quiet.